Hello, my name is Chloe, welcome to my channel. Today I'm bringing to you my TBR for February, particularly Forensic February. So if you've not heard the term Forensic February before, I will link my announcement video down in the description. It is the readathon I am hosting for the entire month of February. I am so excited to be hosting. I am loving the reaction that I've had from people over the readathon board and just the prompts, and everyone seems really happy with it, so I'm feeling fantastic. And I had such a good time planning my own TBR, so I'm very excited to share it with you. I will just jump to past Chloe, earlier this morning Chloe, picking out my Patreon buddy read for the month. So I thought it'd be easier to pick a book out of the mug before I plan my whole TBR, so that I can place this where it's needed rather than do it at the end and then try and match it to a prompt. Like, let's pick the book first. It works in my brain. So there are a mixture of things in here. Some things I would be happy to read in February. Some things I want to read at some point, but maybe February isn't the time. So let's go with the one that hit me. The one that hit me. This could be a bad choice. What have we got? The best choice. It is Kay's pick, which is Done and Dusted. This is the one I was most excited about in the mug. So this is Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. This is a cowboy romance. I am so excited to read this. I am very much into my country romance right now. Like, this just sounds like a great idea. Such a great idea. Oh, so happy to have this one. Right, back to me doing my normal TBR video and sorting out the prompts. So now that that has been picked, let me talk you through the roles I got and what books I have picked for them. Right, here we have it. This is my printout of the board. You'll have to excuse this. I started doing a journal spread for it and then haven't finished it, but want to do my rolls. So this is my spread. I have got my 1 6-sided dice, and I also have this little house that Victoria got me on moving into my new flat, which is a year to the day of this readathon because it was February. So I'm going to start my little house off the board. And roll number 1. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we've got crime scene photos, photo on the cover. So the first role I got is crime scene photos, and I have gone with Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman. This is the Patreon buddy read for the month, and as you can see, the hands tied together here are definitely a photo of hands. I feel like it's just getting popular again with TikTok, but I have the 2020 Amazon printed paperback. Apparently it's really dark. It says, when Cora attends her sister's birthday party, she expects at most a hangover or a walk of shame. She doesn't anticipate a stolen wallet, leaving her stranded and dependent on Dean, her arch nemesis and ultimate thorn in her side. And she really doesn't anticipate waking up in shackles in a madman's basement. To make matters worse, Dean shares the space in his own set of chains. So yeah, I've heard this is incredibly dark, but I'm excited to read it. And yeah, now that it's getting more popular again, getting the patrons involved in reading it, I feel like this is going to be a good time. Next up, 1 Murder Weapon, weapon on the cover. So my next role was Murder Weapon, and I have gone for The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levenseller. Obviously we have a giant sword on here. This book has been in TBRs for years and I have never picked it up. It's one of the oldest books on my TBR, and putting it in the TBR for my own readathon has to mean that I'll read it. This says Alessandra is tired of being overlooked, but she has a plan to gain power. Number 1, woo the Shadow King. Number 2, marry him. Number 3, kill him and take his kingdom for herself. That's all I'm going to read. I didn't realise I had this gorgeous spine on the naked cover. That is so cool. I was gifted it by Becca from the Becca Fowl, and she said it's one of her favourites. So I need to love it. It's just been a very long time since I hauled this book, so I need to read it. 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, my favourite square, which is Always the Husband, read a romance. Next up, I got Always the Husband, so read a romance, and I'm going to use the Patreon TBR jar pick for this, which was Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. As I said in picking the book, this is a cowboy romance, and it's just everything I want to read at the moment, so really happy I could work this into the TBR. 6. Looks like I'm getting around this board pretty quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, this is the one I think is the hardest on the board, is alibi, legal word in the title. Next up we got alibi, and I completely forgot I had this book. It works perfectly. So legal word in the title, I've gone for The Only Suspect by Louise Candlish. Obviously suspect being a legal word, crime-based word. And I don't remember what this is about at all. It says Alex lives in a comfortable life with his wife Beth in the leafy suburb of Silver Vale. Fine, so he's not the most sociable guy on the street. He prefers to keep to himself, but he's a good husband and an easygoing neighbour. That's until Beth announces the creation of a nature trail on a local site that's been disused for decades, and suddenly Alex is a changed man. Now he's always watching, questioning, struggling to hide his dread. As the landscapers get to work, a secret threatens to surface from years ago, back in Alex's 20s when he got entangled with a seductive young woman called Martha, who threw both their lives into turmoil, and who sparked a police hunt for a murder suspect that was never quite what it seemed. It still isn't. So I was actually gifted this book by the publisher. It wasn't an ARC, like they didn't expect a review, so it feels good to finally be getting around to it, as this came out in 2023, so not a crazy amount of time ago. But yeah, I didn't even realise I had this book. I combed through my shelves looking for legal words, and I am very happy that I've discovered I still have this to read. So I either need to get a 3 or higher will finish the readathon. Let's see. A 1! So second body found, read a book in a series. Next up, second body found. I have gone for the last book in this series that I have on my shelves physically. So we have Barbarians Mate by Ruby Dixon. This is book 6 in the Ice Planet Barbarians series. It is the last one I own physically that I haven't read, and I'm very happy to have this special edition. I have the signed copy with the sticker and the bookmark. If you have somehow avoided the Ice Planet Barbarians series, this is literally a romance series with blue aliens. That's all we really need to know. And this one we're following Josie. I never need to refresh myself with these books because they do have a good way of making you remember like which character they're talking about. I forgot how many women landed on the planet not Hoth, but it was quite a few and they all had slightly different personalities. But I do find as soon as you start reading the book, you do remember like distinct things about that woman. Obviously you've just got abducted women, blue aliens, and they're all in the same situation, so it is quite hard to distinguish just on reading the blurb. But I am definitely intrigued to carry on with this series. These books are always a good time. As I said, don't have any more of them physically. I know a lot more have been published in this edition and I need to get my hands on them, but let's read the last one I physically own. A 2 or higher. Are you kidding? It's a 1. Time is running out, read a short book. Next up, time is running out, so a book under 300 pages. I've gone for Chase Me by Tessa Bailey. I definitely have smaller books on my TBR, but this is just, I hope, going to be a very quick read. It's 290 pages, so hopefully I can storm through it. We're following college dropout Roxy, who's moved to New York with dreams of becoming an actress, but her dwindling bank account is quickly putting the kibosh on that fantasy. I've never heard that phrase before. To make some quick cash, she signs up to perform singing telegrams. Her first customer is a gorgeous, cocky Manhattan trust funder, if she ever laid eyes on one. And what could be more humiliating than singing an ode to his junk, courtesy of a recent one-night stand? Maybe the fact that she's dressed in a giant bunny costume. It sounds ridiculous. I'm sure it's going to be a very quick read. I can read Tessa Bailey's very quick. They are just very easy and fun. So yeah, time is running out. I definitely will read this in time. Okay, so anything I roll now will finish the readathon. A 1 again. Crack the case, read a 5-star prediction. So to contrast my last pick, we have Crack the Case, 5-star prediction, and I've gone for the longest book on my TBR for this prompt, but I think I'm going to give 5 stars to House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J Maas. This is the next month's read in the Trash for Mass readathon. We only have 3 months left because the only books left unread are Crescent City. I have never read any of the Crescent City books. I am hoping I love this with my whole heart. I've heard a lot of people don't love this as much as Throne of Glass or ACOTAR. I actually know nothing about it and I'm going to stay that way. I'm going to go in completely oblivious. But we finally are getting to House of Earth and Blood and I think I'm going to give it 5 stars. So here we have it. My first roll around the board they nearly fell at me, gave me 7 books to read to crack the case. As I said in my announcement video, there is nothing stopping you doing every prompt on this board. I have definitely not picked out a book for every prompt. As you can see, I've done 7 out of 20. I do really want to do one more trip around the board, but what I'm going to do is do that in reading vlogs. Like when I've finished this case, I will then start reading again. What I'm considering doing is starting my next roll and picking a book, because I just love picking TBRs. So okay, give me 1 second. Not that you'll know there's been a second. Okay, so I don't have like the pretty setup I had last time, but let's pretend we are starting the board again. And what are we gonna do to start our next case? Because I'm doing my own readathon. Like I should be able to read basically a book a day, but we'll see. So to start the next case, we have a 3. 1, 2, 3. Buddy read a book or read a book for a book club? No, no. I'm doing all my buddy reads already. That is the worst one I could have got. So I need to go think about this. Okay, so this prompt showed how much I really can't rig this readathon to be how how I want it to go. It's the roll of the dice, and obviously if I would have landed on buddy read earlier on, I would have adjusted. However, we've started a new role and buddy read a book. I have gone through previous selections for the Literally Dead book club hosted by Books and Lala, because that's one that I sometimes want to join in with, but I can't quite make the book work that month. So I'm not sure when it was the pick, but I have gone for The Family Game by Catherine Steadman. I think this sounds really, really interesting. As soon as I heard about this book, I wanted a copy and I ordered it from Book of the Month to pick up on one of my US trips. So I've had it a little while. It was released in October of 2022. So yeah, I've had it a second. But it says, a rich, eccentric family, a time-honoured tradition, a lethal game of survival. One woman is about to find out if she has what it takes to join her husband's family. The rules: listen carefully, do your research, trust no one, run for your life. So I'm doing a Patreon movie night at the end of January, and we're watching Ready or Not, which sounds like the same premise. I don't know whether they're linked or not, but I've just always thought this sounded interesting. So yeah, this is how I'm going to start murder case number 2. Do I regret doing this live now? Yes, I do, but we're still going to include it, and we're going to set myself with an 8-book TBR, which still seems really low for my own readathon, you know? But hey ho, we're going to read The Family Game. So here we have it, guys. Here is my TBR as it stands currently for February. This is already hurting my hand and I am regretting my choices, but February is just a readathon month for me. I don't have any crazy plans. Work should be quiet. We'll see. If you've read any of these books, please do let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear your opinions on them and chat to you about them. But for now, that's all I have time for. So thank you very, very much for watching this video. I really do hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.